golf course developer proposal. And I want to talk to you real quick about how we're going to proceed. We pride ourselves in parties and boards having quarterly meetings. We're always respectful to the presenters. We don't get into name callings. We don't get into things. We stay non-passionate. And so, you know, you can make your comments, but be respectful. These people respectfully have come to make a presentation to us. They have respected us in meeting with the Orange Brook subcommittee and doing their presentation. And so this is the way we're going to proceed. Chuck Mineo is going to do a presentation, and we're going to listen to the whole thing, no questions. That will help us get through it better. If you have questions, Sean and myself will walk around. You can get cards over here. We have extra pens. You write out your questions. The reason why we do that is that saves time. We don't have to have repeated questions. We don't get the speech before the question. We just get the question. So the questions we want you to ask there will deal particularly, and I'll go over this again, will deal particularly with something in the presentation. Okay, so you'll ask it about that. After we finish getting answers to the questions, so we're going to let the whole presentation. During the presentation, we will pick up cards. If you have a question, write your question on a card. We'll pick your cards up. Claire, who's our chairperson of the committee, will go through and make sure that questions are not repeated. Every question that's asked will be presented. At the end of that, we will open it up for comments so that you can give your opinion about what you think. We want you to try to keep your opinion short because we'd like to get out of here at a decent time. And we'd like you to be, you don't have to be overly passionate. The opinions of different people it'll get through and we can have a decent meeting. Okay? We've never had to use the police department to keep order in our meetings, and it's not going to happen. No, we're not voting on anything. Yeah, this is only a presentation. At a future meeting, we may take a stand or so forth. But so now, I do want to give an update that at this time, Claire, you may want to talk about other proposals and how this proposal goes with the money, and then there may be other proposals. What a P3 is, so you can explain the P3.
Well, it's my impression that this is the first of several, possibly many, developers who are interested in taking our beloved Orange Brook Golf Course land in part or in total for their private commercial development purposes. So over the next several weeks and up to the end of the 90-day period since this developer presented a $25,000 payment to the City of Hollywood to review their proposal, during that period of time of 90 days, it's my understanding that the city will entertain other development proposals as well. So we'll be in touch. That's one reason why I want everybody to sign in with your contact information so that we can stay in touch with you, because this is just the start, and we're going to need your support over and over again to tell the city that we want to keep Orange Brook as it is.
Could you just give a short history of what we've done up until this point?
I don't think that we have time for that.
Okay.
And afterwards, if time permits, I know certain people like Beam Fur and others have to leave very, very soon, so I'd like to get right into the meat of the proposal.
Okay, at this time, Chuck, let's give him a warm welcome.
Tom didn't have to say all those things first. I parked my car really close to the exit. I can get away fast. No, but I wanted to start the meeting by recognizing the fact that, you know, I've seen the signs. It says, "Save Orange Brook from development, keep it green." That presumes that all development is a bad thing,
Yeah.
that development can't make things better. That is not true. That's simply not true. We're coming forward with our proposal because we think that we can do something for the community that will make it better, not worse. And I'll start by explaining a few things to you. One, Orangebrook is 36 holes of golf. They have approximately 70,000 rounds of golf played annually on the entire course. One single 18-hole golf course can accommodate, in our climate, where we have almost year-round golf, that can accommodate 140,000 rounds of golf on one 18-hole course. So we're spreading 70,000 on 36 holes. It makes no sense to maintain 36 holes of golf for 70,000 golfers a year, when you could have one really nice golf course, have room to grow that volume of golf on that course by 100%, and then you'd be at full capacity. That'd be a great thing. That would make sense. What is happening there now, to me, I'm looking at it as an outsider. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense economically. It doesn't make sense for the city. Golf overall there, if I have the numbers correct, and I have discussed this with various departments, the golf course loses $500,000 a year. And it needs about, in excess probably of $12 million right now to bring it up to just a good standard. It's not a well-maintained course. What we're proposing to do is to do a development that we actually think will make the course greener. Let me tell you, no, it's okay. It's okay. Just listen to facts, sir. Just facts.
No,
I know the facts.
no, excuse me, Howard, I'll ask you.
Let him finish, come on.
It's all right.
Howard, give him his floor.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
No, I don't want any interruptions.
But I'm just, look,
We've set this.
if we talking facts and we want to get angry
No,
about
but we
facts,
just have rules for our
No,
meeting,
right.
and that's one of the rules for the meeting.
okay, all right. Anyway, let me bring up something that maybe Howard will even like. I'm going to show you our plan. This shows all 36 holes of Orangebrook. I know you may not all be able to see this. I'm sorry. But it shows all 36 holes, and it shows what we're proposing to do. A couple of things I want you to notice. All the traffic is oriented toward the Pembroke Road side of the course, away from where the existing residential is. What's on Pembroke Road? A lot of industrial. It's not, right now, not very attractive industrial. We think what we'll do along here will be a big improvement. The centerpiece of what we're talking about, they're going to let questions at the end. I don't mean to cut you off, but the centerpiece of what we're proposing to do is, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Target Golf Facility. Like, have you heard of Topgolf?
No.
It's basically a driving range, but they turned it into kind of a game. Actually, the National Golf Foundation, which represents the golf industry, have recommended this as one way to help revive interest in golf and bring younger people into the sport. What it does is it's a three-tiered driving range, and people play a golf game at the range. It involves young people, women, way more involved in the sport as a result, families, it's good for children. And what we can do with this is, we've already talked to an operator here. They'll build a brand new clubhouse for the course. So there'll be a new clubhouse, which it needs. They will make this the driving range for the course, which I can tell you, there's not a finer driving range anywhere in the country than what these folks do. And this 18 holes up here can be reoriented perfectly to flow with 1 going out, 9 coming in, 10 going out, 18 coming in. It works perfectly. and you end up with a beautiful course here. We stop the development here. That distance between the homes and here is a quarter mile. I mean, that, I don't know, a quarter mile from a development is pretty far. And then what we're going to do, and this is where Howard, wherever you went, I want to make sure you understand what's happening here. We talked about keeping things green. We'll either, it depends what you guys want. We'll do either a par 3 9-hole course right here and keep it golf, which I wouldn't recommend, and I'll tell you later why. Or we propose to do an 18-acre botanical garden there, which will be all beautiful trees, forests, a real natural preserve. And let me tell you something, folks. If you think a golf course is a natural preserve, you are very mistaken. We talked, the last meeting, we talked about a brownfield site off of Pembroke Road. I want to tell you something. This is a brownfield site. Golf courses are one of the most polluted properties in the country. And the reason is years of application of pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers. Whatever we do here, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with the term, anything we do here is going to require a major environmental remediation. We're going to have to either remove tons of contaminated soil, haul them off and they get incinerated, or we'll have to find a way to encapsulate them on site. So a golf course is not a natural preserve. It's kind of the opposite of that. It's an environmental hazard. The EPA changed the rules in 2009 to lessen dangerous chemicals that could be applied. But for 60, 70 years, those chemicals have been laid down on this course. That contamination is going to run at least 3 feet deep. We already know that. We haven't done our testing, but we know that. And there's some pretty harmful stuff. And it seeps into the groundwater. It's in the water, that the surface water that exists there now, and it's running into the canals and out to the ocean. And we can stop that. We can have a nice golf course, and we can do something that is really environmentally far more responsible. Then you look at the course. I had a meeting, I'll share with you. I had a meeting with the Hollywood Beach Association. Their response was, I asked people there, how many of you have utilized Orangebrook Golf Course? Out of 18 people, 3 people raised their hands. One person actually went there to golf, and said he won't go back because he didn't like the course. One person has gone to the driving range only, and a third person, a woman, had attended some meetings at the clubhouse. That's it. That's the utilization for those people. Yet, in fairness, those people are paying taxes to support this golf course. And it's not self-supporting. But what we're proposing to do will not only make it self-supporting, it will turn a profit for the city. You know, when you talk about developers, the developer is going to do this for their own private purposes. Not under the proposal we're coming in on. You can't do things for your own private purposes. If we don't fulfill public purposes here, this proposal doesn't fly. We came at this from the perspective of what is good for the community. We're community planners. That's what we base our development on. What's good for a community? We base it on what's good for the environment and what's good for sustainability. In terms of, we were talking about trees. I guess the high school teacher is gone, but he's right. Trees are nature's best air conditioners. There aren't enough of them. That's why 18 acres of trees here, to me, is far preferable to 18 acres of, and I'm telling you, there's nothing natural about that. That's not natural grass. It's non-natural grass. It has to be watered to be preserved. It has to be heavily fertilized. It has to have herbicides applied. There's nothing natural about it. It needs a ton of irrigation, heavy water use. What we're proposing would make this beautiful. It would clean up this area. We can clean up we can clean up a lot of the surface water on site here by what we do with bioswales and bioretention before it gets to a bigger holding pond or lake. and we can turn this into something that is environmentally responsible and useful for the entire community. This section right here near the entrance is a proposed town center or a community commons. It's designed to be a place where the community can gather. West of 95 in Hollywood, I don't know of a place like that exists, where you can meet your friends by chance, not by design, but by chance. In the commons area, we can conduct all kinds of community events. The anchors for it would be a boutique hotel and a movie theater and bowling, which I think would be a nice addition to the community in terms of entertainment, things to do. What I heard at certain meetings is, look, Hollywood, to become a more vibrant community, you need to attract young people and families. These are the kind of things that draw young people and families in, the millennial generation. If you want a community to move forward, you got to think about the children. If we think about the kids, we can never go too far wrong. And most of what we do is based on, hey, what's good for kids? What do kids like? So what do we have here? That's a climbing facility. What's wrong with kids today? They sit on the couch all day and they play on their phones and watch TV. How are we encouraging them to go outside and play? We put a playground there, a passive playground. Doesn't always do it. By putting in a climbing facility, we're going to powered zip line. We're going to also have a aerial climbing gym facility. Kids are going to be encouraged to go out and do things. They can do it here. They could actually play golf, and this is a water park. And I had people tell me, oh, there was a water park once, Atlantis, in Dania, and it failed. It didn't fail. It outlived its usefulness and value. The developer who bought it put up the Oakwood Shopping Center because the water park couldn't generate as much money for them as the shopping center could. So they paved it over for shopping. The one thing we're against, we don't like retail. We don't like shopping. We like entertainment for people. We like things for people to do. And that's what this is dedicated to. People said, oh, what about Dania Point? We don't care. We don't care about Dania Point. They're doing something we don't want to do. They put in a shopping center that I think will be nice. It's not unlike a lot of shopping centers I've seen elsewhere in the country. But I can tell you right now, an entertainment facility like this doesn't exist in many places. And we think something like this will put Hollywood on the map. It will increase property values in this town. I know it for a fact. It's not speculation. This will help the city overall. That's kind of a Western anchor. And I think it will spur other development. It will help the downtown. It will even help the beach. Because if you pick a vacation destination. Oh, where do I want to go? Well, Hollywood has a beautiful beach. A lot of people don't even know it. But if Hollywood also has South Florida's best entertainment facility, the people who come here for vacation, all of a sudden they have the beach and they have another nice option of something to do. So what our proposal is based on is what we think is good for the community. I'll tell you why it has to be that. The reason it has to be that is in order for this to happen, this whole development to happen, we have to undergo a citywide voter referendum. And we have to win that referendum by a majority vote. We didn't come to Hollywood to propose something that we thought was a loser out of the box. It makes no sense. We tried to propose something to the city that made sense for them. And I can tell you this, you want to talk about a community treasure? There is no greater community treasure for any community than a botanical garden. Go online, read about them. What every community has to say about a botanical garden. That is a rare community treasure. And that's something we can pull off here. It will clean up this area. It can help to clean up the waterways. And it will beautify it will beautify at least this part where the residences are. Along here, you can't really see it because if we showed it really lush and green, you wouldn't see a lot of the elements. But we want this to be garden-like the whole way too. There's a reason we call this Hollywood Gardens. We want this to look like one big tropical garden in Hollywood. So people driving by on 95 are gonna go, wow, what is that place? Incredible. Incredible, natural, beautiful. And I'm sorry, as much as you might love the golf course, that is not what it is now. That is not the appearance of it. We can change that if you're willing. And why am I here today? I knew you guys were going to be the toughest crowd. I knew it. You live right there. I went to an Orange Brook Revitalization Committee meeting maybe a month or so ago. I had a few people walk out on me without even looking, before they even saw anything. They walked out. And I'm like, wow, you know what? How are you going to know whether something's good for you or not if you won't even listen? So all I'm asking you to do is listen, think for yourself, get educated on what I told you. You don't have to accept what I say as the truth. I do have a website. I'm going to pass out, actually, I'm going to pass out some flyers for you. Okay. I have about 40 of them.
Just one per person.
While Tom's doing that, I'll show you, if you can see them well, I'll show you some of the other renderings of what we propose.
This is a point of reference. Where 95 is at the bottom of that map, and Hollywood Boulevard is on the right side.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Correct. You're right.
Okay, yeah. I live all the way at the Hollywood Boulevard side, so I'm on Times
This,
Road.
I didn't show.
This is south. This is Pembroke Road. This is I-95.
Right.
Okay, Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay, so I'm at that little place.
And I'll walk this
Figure out
around.
where I
so
am.
people can walk.
That's where we're planting the botanical garden, in that area.
You got my vote.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to show you folks. Here's a rendering of what we would plan for the entrance on Pembroke.
Where is Pembroke?
Yeah, right here, and that's the entrance. There's a light right here. Yeah. Oh, that's Hollywood. This is Pembroke.
Either one of you know what?
Okay, wait. I'll go over it. Please listen. And I'll go over it real quick. We
All right,
want to
so-
keep the questions till the end.
Anyway,
Excuse
folks.
me. This is north. This is Hollywood Boulevard.
Where? Did it get signed?
Right here.
Yes.
So there will
This
be
is
no
the neighborhood.
entrance.
No entrance on Hollywood Boulevard.
This is I-95. This is Pembroke Road. This is Park. Okay? And then I'll slowly walk around so you can look at the details of what's planned for the different places.
We pushed all the traffic over to the Pembroke Road side. The only thing you'll be able to do is some cars will be able to exit at Hollywood Boulevard where that JC's currently is right there.
No questions?
Not, I don't, honestly, probably nothing. But anyway, folks, here's the proposed entrance to the project off of Pembroke. I showed you the town center. This would be a dock that we would, or a dock area that we would build at the back of the town center. That's about a 6-acre lake. We'll do a boardwalk across the lake. That's probably about 500 feet. You can walk from this town center. We made it so you can walk to this town center, from the town center to any other facility on the property without having to cross the road. It's very walkable. It's planned to be that way.
If you have questions,
Yeah, Bocce.
if you have questions, please hold up your card, write it on the thing. We don't want to interrupt you.
Here's a rendering of the rock climbing wall and the zip line. The zip line idea is kind of a new thing. It's a powered zip line. So you start and end in the same place. It's like a roller coaster ride. So you're riding a zip line through the rock wall, out over the lake, and then back. And I mean, try to visualize this. This will be near the center of the property. That's a 45-foot high rock wall and heavily planted like jungle area below. I mean, I think that would be pretty striking. You don't see structures like that much in South Florida. These other, I'm sorry, I think the other images are too small for you to really be able to see them here, but what I would encourage you to do for more information, please go to our website. The website's on the piece of paper that we handed out. You can read a lot about sustainability. You can read about water features. You can read about our ideas for recreation. I don't think there are many things there that you could say are bad things especially for children and for adults who like to have fun. So, Tom, I can take one. I can take you in? Yeah.
Well, I have a soft voice, so I'm going to use the microphone so you can hear the
If
question.
there's any other questions, please hand them in.
There were several questions along the same lines, so I'm going to start with that one because apparently several people are concerned about the same thing. Water theme parks are already planned for a variety of different locations. Jungle Island on the MacArthur Causeway in Miami-Dade County. The American Dream, which will be the largest mall in the United States to be built in Northwest Dade County, not very far from Hollywood. And Sunrise City Hall Complex, they are going to have a water theme park there as well. So the question is, can the region support even more water theme parks? And what happens to our land if and when your water theme park can't survive all this competition?
Houses.
One is the American Dream is, I think, pretty aptly named because right now it's a big dream. That project will not happen for years and years and years. I know who the developer is, Giragosian out of Canada. It's a huge project in an area that will require, years and years and years of work. That water park will also be in a far inferior location to the Orange Grove Golf Course. I can tell you this, there are 30 million tourists who come to Dade and Broward counties. There's 60 million who go to Orlando. Orlando has 4 major water parks and probably 3 other medium-sized water parks for the 60 million. South Florida presently, for 30 million tourists, has 0 water parks. Why do I think it'll do well? Because the numbers tell me it will do well. And every water park operator we've talked to said it's a home run. They know their business. I know how well a water park would do.
Run for who?
Have you done traffic studies yet? And how would traffic be affected on the streets adjacent to the developments such as Park Road, Hollywood Boulevard, and Pembroke Road?
Yes, we have. We used Kinley Horn, who did the traffic work for Hillcrest, the impact of that development. Presently, Pembroke Road is below what they call level of service. Level of service is what the state measures and sets as what the road can handle. Pembroke is below current level and below projected level into, I believe it was 2030. Most of the impact of our project was, by Kinley Horn's estimate, was on Pembroke. Very little on any of the other roadways, including Park Road. So Pembroke is the main road of concern. The county also has $2 million earmarked within the next 5 years to improve that Pembroke 95 interchange. Having nothing to do with us, that was just in their plan all along. So we feel pretty good about traffic. We've been told by Kinley Horns it should not create any issues in the current state, without improvement.
Acknowledging Hollywood Boulevard.
Pardon me?
You're not acknowledging Hollywood Boulevard.
We're not, they figured that less than 5% of our traffic would affect
You
all.
can't get out.
Okay, wait.
We didn't
You
cause
write the
that.
question.
The comments will come later.
We didn't cause the traffic on Hollywood Boulevard.
This is a related question related to access to the project. Can you change access to Park Road instead of Pembroke Road?
No, we can't because we don't have a way to we don't have an access point from Park Road to the development. There's no way, and I wouldn't want to bring that traffic onto Park. I think it makes more sense on Pembroke. So the answer is it's not feasible anyway.
Why don't you develop the old City of Hollywood dump site?
Because it's a brownfield? Is that what you're saying? Because it's a brownfield? Well, the golf course is a brownfield too. Make no mistake about it. That golf course is an environment.
No, the question was, instead of proposing it for Orangebrook, why don't you propose it for the dump site?
Because at the dump site, one, you will have a much greater environmental cleanup, but two, I couldn't get any of these people to go to that site. Not because it's a dump, because it's not a good location. They can't be seen. So it's just not feasible. People want to go where they can be seen.
Where is the on-site brook where Orangebrook Golf Course was named for the Orange Brook located there? And how will the brook be incorporated into your project?
I don't know the answer to that because I'm not sure what the brook is. There are a number of little waterways there. I'm not sure what the brook is. But I can tell you this, the brook's polluted, and whatever it is, we'll fix it. It's polluted right now.
Do you have prior experience with this type of development?
No, because, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't think anybody does, unless your name's Walt Disney. Nobody's built a development like this. But I can tell you that the way that we planned it is each of the elements of the development, they have the expertise. They're responsible for what they do. Water parks build water parks. I don't. Target golf facilities build Target golf facilities. We don't. Hotels build hotels. So essentially, what we're doing is putting all these groups together in a sensible way, and we let them do what they do best. We do all the preparation work for them. We do the master plan, but we rely on their expertise because they're the best at it.
Why not propose the project for the west and south side of Orangebrook, not the I-95 side, which is our front door?
Okay, I'll tell you why. Because I feel that putting this on your front door, if you're Hollywood, makes a better statement than having a lightly used golf course that's not well maintained as your front door. I think this presents a better, more progressive image for Hollywood. If you want to signal to people we're a place on the move, there are things happening in Hollywood, you have to have some kind of change. Change involves what you call development. You can judge whether what I talked about is good development or bad development. I think it's good, but you have to have some kind of change to make things aren't going to get better if you don't change.
What would be your hours of operation?
That question's too far into the future, and we can't necessarily control that. Like I wouldn't be able to control what how the water park would operate or the Target golf. I believe that most of the Target golf places, if I'm not mistaken, they'll stay open until at least 11 or 12 at night. The area is fairly low lit. You can look at images on our website. They keep it fairly low lit. It's not heavy bright light. I think they keep it purposely that way so you can see their lit up targets on the range. Water parks typically close by 8 o'clock, dusk usually. So that's what I would presume. The movie theater probably operate till midnight. And what we have planned there on top of the movie theater, that's a 75,000 square foot building. To translate 75,000 square feet That's nearly 2 acres of space. A lot of buildings have a 2-acre roof. We want to utilize that roof to do an outdoor cinema and put a nice outdoor rooftop bar up there as well. It would be, that's a really popular thing globally. And we would be one of the first to have something like that in Hollywood. In South Florida, actually.
How will the proposed 18-hole golf course be made more environmentally sound?
I don't know yet, and I don't know if that would become our responsibility or become the responsibility of the city. But I can tell you this, I know what happened in another golf course north of here. I've studied it closely. I talked to the company that did the remediation, and what they found is that the heaviest contamination is at the tee boxes in the greens. They dug up, moved the soil from those areas to another area, encapsulated it, brought in new fill, and they had to redo all the tee boxes and all the greens, maybe some fairways. I know, one of the worst sites is where they store the chemicals, because what they do after that is they dump it irresponsibly. Oh, I didn't use all this. It just gets dumped there. So that's going to be a heavily contaminated site for sure. I can tell you, there are a couple other things I would share with you personally. My mother-in-law was an avid golfer. My mother-in-law contracted a rare blood disease that's caused by chemical exposure. She golfed nearly every day. She died after they diagnosed it. She died within 30 days. And it was because she was on golf courses all the time. I stopped playing golf. I used to golf all the time. I started to develop facial swelling every time I went on the golf course. And I just couldn't go. I had developed chemical sensitivity. I couldn't go back. My brother worked on golf courses. He had to wear a hazmat suit when he sprayed. They're not putting good stuff on your golf courses. I mean, I don't want to tell people not to golf. If you enjoy golf, yeah, golf. But I think we need to get more responsible about what we do on golf courses.
Who is financing this project?
Right now, our financing partner is, how do I describe it to you? The company is called Cornerstone. It's a collection of what you would call ultra high net worth individuals. In other words, people with a whole lot of money who want to invest. And there's a small group of those individuals from this Cornerstone office in Philadelphia who would be the main money partner for us.
Can the 27 remaining holes in your plan be made so that there are 3 courses of 9 so players can choose one or any of them?
That probably could happen. Yeah, that probably could work. I wouldn't want to do that, but it could probably be done.
What impact do you anticipate for the neighborhood?
Whoever asked that question, if you don't mind, what do you mean by what's the neighborhood to you?
Well, the Orange Brook neighborhood where I live is, and many of the people here, could you show it on the board?
Okay, I know you're talking about. You're talking about the collection of about 100 homes right there.
Right.
Okay.
It's a
Is that-
very
is that-
quiet, single-family home neighborhood.
Okay. All right. Well, let me tell you this.
How about the mobile home?
Write it down.
Okay. What I would tell you there is, here's what I think. If you go with the botanical garden option, I don't have any doubt your home values will go up.
Oh,
Not a doubt. Who can walk to a botanical garden? There's a ton of research done on the value of parks near your residence and what it does to home values. They will undoubtedly go up. Right now, what are you looking at? You're looking at an open savanna golf course instead of at a beautiful botanical garden. That's my take. I can't.
Okay, this might be related to that question. Is there any noise pollution level projected?
The noisiest part to me, is definitely going to be the water park. It will probably be more noisy during the day. Another good reason to do the botanical garden is that would be a really strong noise buffer, as well as site buffer, if that's what you prefer. So I can't, I can't project the noise level. I can't tell you what it is in decibels or anything else from a water park, but I mean, quite honestly, that's where the most, well, there'll be like mostly screams of joy, but that's where they'll be coming from.
Would the golf course, the remaining golf course, would it remain a municipal golf course?
Well, that's a good point. The entire project will remain a municipal project. When you do a P3 proposal, we don't own this project. The city of Hollywood retains ownership of the project the whole way. The city of Hollywood will own the botanical gardens. The city of Hollywood will share in the revenues of this project on a very fair basis. I'm not going to tell you what that is. That's confidential. But they will share in the revenues.
And expenses?
No, revenue.
Straight revenue.
Yep.
Who will pick up the cost of reconfiguring the 18 holes of golf that will remain? Are you going to contribute anything towards that cost?
100%. We're going to contribute it all.
How many beds in the hotels?
The boutique hotel, we're projecting that the one that would be an anchor on the, that would serve as an anchor on the town center, we're projecting that at about 200 rooms. And if we can get a resort hotel to go along with the water park, that would probably be 500 rooms, and we would try to get them to do a small convention center because it's something that the city feels would be useful. They'd like to have more small convention business.
Traffic is paralyzing on I-95. We're backed up to Sheridan Street, waiting to get off on Hollywood Boulevard. Won't this theme park overwhelm the area?
Not according to the study that we did with Kinley Horn, no. According to the study we did with Kinley Horn, the only significant impact will be on Pembroke Road, not on Hollywood Boulevard. And that makes sense. We're not having people get off on Hollywood Boulevard. They couldn't get into the project from there. And why would you go to Hollywood Boulevard, which if you know the area, you know it's congested, you're going to go to the place that makes the most sense, which would be Pembroke Road. And I'm sure we could develop signage to guide people that way.
How long would the lease be?
We haven't determined that yet. We would obviously like to have the longest term possible. Like for example, you can't get a water park of the type that we're talking about. For the water park operator, that's an $80 to $100 million investment that they're making. They don't want to make that investment with the thought that, hey, I could be out of there in 30 years. So, in fairness, I think it's got to be at least around something like a 49-year lease. We would like longer if possible, but at least 49. At the end of the lease, everything reverts to the city.
Where in Florida or in the United States is there a similar mixed recreation development? And then another question, how long have you guys been in this business?
There isn't, to my knowledge, there's not another similar development to this. It's pretty unique. It would be the largest entertainment project south of Disney World. And the big difference is, this is all outdoor entertainment. This is not sit on your butt entertainment for kids. This is active outdoor entertainment. It's geared toward outdoor, it's geared toward active, it's geared toward fun. I heard, and I can look more carefully to get back to people who are curious, I heard there's something that might be similar around Kansas City, Kansas. But I find that hard to believe considering the difference in our climates.
Why do we need an artificial Crystal Lagoon beach when Hollywood has an award-winning real beach?
We don't have an artificial Crystal Lagoon beach in our plan. We considered doing that because we thought it would be a nice amenity. And in fact, I did think about this. The one thing, these Crystal Lagoons, I don't know how many of you are familiar with them, but they're really beautiful looking. They entice people to go swimming. It's almost like a huge, lightly treated swimming pool, but they make it look very natural. The thing about them is they have to have a liner, just like a pool. So they have a liner underneath, which means nothing can percolate through the soil, which then makes it more like a parking lot in that respect. So that's one reason we're saying no, we kind of reject it. The one thing it could be good for is if we use the liner like that to encapsulate a bunch of heavily contaminated soil, that would be a good thing. So most likely, I'll tell you the other reason we can't do it. The Crystal Lagoons cost about $600,000 an acre to do. We can't do that. We couldn't afford to do it.
Why so much space for surface level parking, and why not save space with a parking garage?
On our plan, I didn't want to commit the city to parking garages, so that's one reason that you don't see one in conjunction with the town center. But we have discussed it. I think we would have at least 2 parking garages. One would be right by one would be right here by this town center element, and the other would be that is not where it'll be located, but a parking garage over in this area for the water park. So the water park parking garage would have to accommodate maybe 1,200 cars, and we'd probably have 700-800 cars for the town center garage. The other thing, I would encourage you to look at the website, because what this doesn't show, there's some pretty sustainable things you can do with parking lots in terms of trees, creating natural little areas that capture rainwater. That's part of our plan too. What we want to try to achieve on this site, if we can do it, and I'm not sure that we can, I'm not promising this, but one of the big things in South Florida, one of the big issues is water retention and what happens to the stormwater runoff. Usually the stormwater runoff collects on a parking lot, gets nice and dirty, goes into a big sewer pipe, and comes out as polluted water. What we want to try to do is keep that water on the site, get it to percolate either through the soil or take it via rain channels to a bioretention area where it gets treated on site and comes out as clean water into whatever, holding lake, and then eventually, I guess, released into the canals.
Why propose such a great grand entrance on Pembroke Road? The 650 unit residential area nearby won't do it, meaning a similar great grand entrance on Pembroke Road. So why do you want to do such a grand entrance?
The reason for the grand entrance is you want to let people know that they have arrived in someplace special. And the entrance isn't about architecture or anything. Maybe we didn't do it justice, but we want it to be more about nature. You're arriving at a garden spot, and that's the message we want to send to people the minute they get there. You're at a garden spot.
What are the financial projections?
Well, that's a big question. That's a big question. I can't, it's really, we're treating that right now with the city confidentially, and I'll tell you why. Not because we want to hide it from you, that's not the reason, but I don't really think it's fair. We're the first proposer. We've already revealed an entire plan to other people. The last thing I want to do is reveal to them our financial plan as well. I don't think we should have to, because then to me, one of the worst things that could happen is somebody goes, oh, you know what? I really like these guys' plan. I'm just going to copy it and offer more money. To me, wrong. That's the wrong thing to do. And, if you have your own idea, bring your idea to the city. But I don't want to create the opportunity for people to simply better our idea.
This person asked, when was your last time visiting Orange Brook? Because it is like a country club now, and why do you want to destroy it?
I don't. That's not a fair. That's like, why did you beat your wife? I don't want to destroy Orange Brook Golf Course. I think Orange Brook could be made into a better golf course. I mean,
No.
It can't be better. It can't be better. No, really. It can't be better, Howard. Honestly.
Not much.
Okay.
He asked me a question.
Okay, this
No, that's fair. I don't
this
mind Howard.
question asks, why don't you use a site on Hollywood Boulevard east of I-95, between I-95 and Dixie Highway on Hollywood Boulevard, rather than an Orangebrook Golf Course?
Is there one? I don't know where that is. I don't know where that would be.
Do you
That's
plan
my
on
question.
piping in music?
No, I'm sorry.
That's my question.
Yes.
Why we want to destroy the golf course?
I don't
When
wanna-
we have a lot of areas from I-95 going east up to West Dixie Highway, they're in pretty bad shape. Their houses are in very bad conditions. The roads are bad.
So what you're saying-
It's not
Yeah.
safe.
No, I-
It's an
I-
ugly area.
I
When
understand.
you drive, hold
We're
on.
not
When
dealing
you
with
drive
cars.
down from I-95 and you make a right, from here to Dixie, it's not that nice.
No, I-
When you get into Hollywood,
I understand what you're saying.
downtown area is beautiful.
I-
Then you have the beautiful side all the way down to the beach. This side on Hollywood is
I-
decent and it's really it's not that
I understand,
bad.
but we can't.
That area is bad. And if you go a little bit north, there is another golf course
The-
that's in even worse conditions than this
Okay,
golf course.
listen,
The only-
this is not the way we're gonna run.
No,
the
that's
meeting.
okay, Tom.
I know, but I really want it done this way without extension.
Okay, next question. Do you plan on piping in music throughout your park?
No. Why not? Because the other places will have their own, like Top Golf plays music, the.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because water parks throughout Florida have.
The water park, yeah, but the water park may, but we're not operating.
Right,
we're
so,
not gonna-
but the question, I think, is talking about all your various
I think
tenants.
I think there could be music at the water park, yes. There will be music at the golf, for sure, yes.
That's a factor that may affect your park, because if it's gonna be at a level that the neighbors, people living in the area are gonna hear, that's not gonna make them.
They'll be a quarter mile away, separated maybe by a botanical garden.
Yeah, there was an earlier question on noise pollution, and then this one was more specific about music being piped in. But it is definitely a serious issue for the quiet neighborhood that abuts it. How will you sustain this park during and after a hurricane?
Depends what the hurricane does to the park. I mean, I don't know. You know, there are definitely wind codes. Everything has to be built according to codes. Hurricanes can do damage to a lot of trees, whatever. I mean, it's hard to say.
Have you considered the property owned by the J.C.'s and the small building on Hollywood Boulevard and I-95? And have you considered the trailer court?
Not really. We haven't. We actually were. Some people suggested that we try to buy the trailer park, but I can share with you people, those weren't the most lucrative things going. It would be really it would be really expensive to try to buy a trailer.
This proposal seems luxurious and expensive, so will this park be an expensive place to go?
It won't be an expensive place to go necessarily, but I mean, if you go to the water park, it will probably cost you $40 to $45. We're going to work out with everybody that we work with. We're going to work out discounts for Hollywood residents on golf, on the water park, things for children, things for disadvantaged children. I mean, there are all kinds of things that we can do to make it very community friendly and affordable.
Will the patrons of the development have pedestrian access to our homeowner neighborhood immediately abutting the development?
Not with either of the solutions. If we did the par 3 golf, that would be no different than what exists now. And if we do the botanical garden, it would be a separator. So no, they would not have access.
What has been your previous development experience?
The best thing would be to go on our website and you can see what we've done. We've done quite a bit of work up in the Northeast. I'm originally from Pittsburgh. We recently secured, primarily through my brother who's a partner, we secured an entire city block in downtown Pittsburgh. It was an old Macy's department store. And again, talking about turning something that's kind of an old building that could use some help. What we did there is we attracted a hotel operator called Even. So they're gonna do a hotel there, we're gonna do apartments, we're gonna do a rooftop restaurant downtown. We just helped to acquire another kind of rundown property there called One Chatham Center that we're gonna renovate. And again, that will probably end up being apartments and hotel as well. We did a ground up development in an area called Nevillewood in Pittsburgh. It's a pretty high end area. It was about 170,000 square foot development with some very notable retailers and restaurants. We're presently working on a few more things up there that I don't think I revealed on the website, but if you check out the website, you can see the backgrounds of all of us and what we've done in the past.
Okay. We're gonna just finish up the questions we have, then we're gonna open it up for comments. And before we start the comments, I'm gonna just go over a little bit of ground rules so that we have the proper decorum.
How close are the pictures that you showed? How close are they to the final result? And what happens if the final results do not match what you're promising?
Oh, that's always a fair question, and you do these kinds of renderings for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is to try to convey by pictures, not words, to other people what you want to do. But another important reason for them is I like to share them with all the people who are working on our project. So we say to them, this is our vision, this is what we wanted. We want to get we understand if we have to make adjustments, but we want to get as close to this as we can. It's a one good way of getting everybody to share the same vision for what you want to accomplish.
I'm not sure the second part was answered.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was the second part?
What happens if the final result does not match? Thanks,
Well,
Nancy.
here's the thing about the final result not matching. The final result should not match unless the city doesn't want it to match. We shouldn't be able to build anything that they don't want. So we're working closely with the city. They call this a public-private partnership, and it's called that for a reason, because we are partners. We want to do what is best for the city. We want to do what's sensible, and we're going to have to work with the city all the way along. Changes will have to be made. The city's going to probably require some. So all I can tell you is I can't imagine us doing anything ending up without city approval.
If the city can't properly keep up the golf course now, what makes you think that they will be able to keep up the remaining portion of the golf course after we have the development?
That's a really good question. Well,
It's not.
First, let's take it this way. You go from 36 holes to a maximum of either 27 or 18. You're going to be able to maintain 18 holes with the same amount of money far better than you could 36, because now you're spreading the same pot of money over a bigger course to maintain. So you're going to have a much better maintained 18 than you have the same amount of money. 18 holes are going to be better maintained than 36. I'm not finished. There's not a question about that. Secondly, these target golf facilities, on average, attract 500,000 people a year. A lot of them are not presently golfers. The National Golf Foundation talks about the fact that there is no on-ramp in golf to attract new golfers. Golf is expensive.
Elementary schools, PGA. But don't let them lie.
I'm not lying.
He's giving
You
you the
can
answer
check with the
to
National,
comment.
Howard, check with the National Golf Foundation. These are facts, Howard.
Okay,
for the
we're moving on
Golf
to-
has been in a steady decline since
We're running out of time. I have
mid-1990s.
3 more questions, and we're going to take them. Why not build this on one of the 2 other municipal golf courses to the east?
It's funny. I talked originally. This actually started with talking about something we wanted to do at the Arts Park that we might still try to pursue. And then I was involved as a bystander, onlooker, in what the city tried to do with a request for letters of interest on Orangebrook in 2015. I attended those meetings, I listened to what people had to say, and this is kind of the solution that we came up with for Orangebrook based on what we heard and how we thought we could fix a lot of the existing problems, including the city's budget, environmental, things for kids, outdoor activities, all the things that aren't there right now.
How would you propose to word the resolution? It says resolution, but I think the questioner means referendum. How would you propose to word the referendum to convince voters to vote for your proposal to change the land use? To explain, currently there is a covenant which protects all of the 3 City of Hollywood municipal golf courses from anything that's not golf. And in order to change that, a majority of the voters, registered voters in the City of Hollywood, have to vote to be willing to change that. 60%, even
No,
better.
No, it's majority.
No.
Yeah, it is. I read this. It is. But here's the thing. I'll explain something to you about the process and what we're willing to take on because we believe in what we're doing. One is, phase 1 of our development is only to do the golf-related piece, and somehow the city has told us the boutique hotel could be part of the golf-related piece. To do phase 1, we need, according to how I interpret the city charter, we would need a supermajority vote of commissioners, which means we would need to get 5 out of 7 to vote for that. If we don't get that, what the city charter says is for any property where you propose to have a lease greater than 20 years, which we will, you must have either a supermajority vote of commissioners or a majority of the city's electors, that would be you included. So I mean, we would have to prevail by a majority vote on the referendum if we fail to get a supermajority on phase 1. No matter what, on the other non-golf related uses, we have to do a referendum no matter what. The commissioners cannot approve that alone.
Okay, I have one final question. Have you met yet with the city staff for the pre-application conference, which is called PACO? If not yet, then when is it scheduled for?
There's no pre-application conference in that statute, so I'm not really sure what that's referring to, but I would like to meet with the city staff one more time to go over some procedural issues related to this public-private partnership procedure. So that's something that we're going to be requesting of the city.
Okay, thank you very much, Chuck.
Thanks, Tom.
You still stay up for, yes, was he saying you can finish the question? When do we get financials?
The financials, we want to keep financials on who?
Well, if we're gonna vote on it, can't go in the picture.
Now, what kind of financials are you talking about?
How's this gonna make money that you think it's gonna make?
I'm not sure that the city will, I'm not sure if the city will share that publicly because we're proposing a revenue share to the city, which would mean they have to reveal what each of these tenants is paying, and that would really rock the boat. People don't want to reveal their lease to the public. So I think that ultimately the city can reveal an overall number. I think they will be I think that number is impressive because here's what you have to consider.
They're public records.
I met with a number of commissioners. One person asked, well, you know, I think this property is worth this amount of money. I can tell you what the property's worth right now. It's worth whatever that golf course is worth because you can't do anything else with it. That's what it's worth. Then you have to say, okay, what do we have to do to change the value of that property? We have to get what are called new entitlements, meaning a right to build something other than what is there. So that's one big step, and we're taking that risk. The second big step is you also have to, in the end, determine, okay, what can we build on that property? The more that we're allowed to build, the greater the density, the greater the value of the property. We're not proposing what I consider a very dense development. All the developers who submitted on this before, for when they requested letters of interest, they proposed high-rise residence, high-rise office, retail. And by the way, that's something you have to think about. This property is not going to stay a 36-hole golf course. I don't know for how much longer, but it is not going to stay a 36-hole golf course. You have to choose at some point, what kind of development do we want to see here? What if the movement goes toward, hey, we would just want to get as much money for this as we can. We're in bad financial straits. We need to get as much money as we can for the property. Guess what you'll get? One of those developments. High-rise residential, high-rise office, because that's where the money is. This is not the biggest moneymaker, folks. That's not why we proposed it. We proposed it because we thought it was something good for the community.
Okay, now let me just set some parameters. We're going to take some comments about what you think, what your feelings are. I want you to understand that one of the questions that were asked, I just want to add some information to that. Everything, as far as their plans and pictures, how much will it look like that? Every step of the process all goes before reviews and everything changes. You know, the height restriction gets changed higher or lower. Usually they ask for higher, they end up with lower. What we ended up on Sheridan Street, totally different from what was proposed, and we have a beautiful park out of it. Our position as Park East Civic Association has always been one thing. We are not going to be a group that just says, hell no, but we will be a group that comes up with a plan. And that's why we have our Orange Book committee that has developed a lot of plans. And we are in contact with a golf design group that now we know that we will have a meeting coming up soon. We weren't assured of that over a month ago. In fact, we were told they had stopped the process. They're now willing again to talk to us. So the thing is, if you want to make comments, you raise your hand. And understand that, understand one other thing, please. This is our guest. This is a businessman. He's in it to make a profit. We understand that. That in and of itself is not evil. It is a plan. He can get turned down. The more we educate ourselves, and maybe some of your ideas, and I just want to say, originally, when they gave the whole plan, did they listen to some of the things they did? They have listened to us politely, even when some of the people have not been polite. And they added this idea of the botanical garden, right? And originally, they had development going almost right up to the properties in the Orange Brook area.
With
With a separating lake.
Crystal Lagoon in my backyard.
Right. So it did change. Okay? So then another thing, there are other proposals. When they paid their money, they opened up a 90-day window for other proposals. So the city now will look up at any other proposals. And there are people now lining up that don't have to pay the money.
No, they do. I think they
They
do.
do? Okay, they do. Okay, everybody has to pay
I
the
think
money.
they do.
Okay, because it takes city time to look it over. So that reimburses the city employees for the time spent on this project, because it takes them. I got it. So here we go. Comments?
Can I say one thing
And can you
first?
give your name and where you live in Hollywood?
Let me just say one. I just want to say one thing first. You can ask whatever question. You're not going to hurt you won't hurt my feelings. I understand there's anxiety that goes along with this. I understand it. All I can tell you is we're trying to do what we think is the right thing. We want to hear what you have to say.
And I want to thank him for coming into the Lions Den. He didn't have to do this, so let's
I'm Paul Farron. I live in the Lakes area. I am on the green team of Hollywood. I'm on the Workforce Development Board of Broward County. I am an avid golfer, and I golf more than 150 rounds a year in Orangeburg.
Wow.
I want to refute some of your contentions.
Okay.
First of all, the fact that it is not going to stay a 36-hole golf course is not an inevitability. As it states now, that is what it is destined for. And unless something comes to change that, that's not necessarily going to change. I think the leadership of this city is in favor of preserving open spaces rather than developing them. And they have actually stated outright that they are not looking for short-term revenue when they see the value of open spaces in perpetuity of how important those things are.
I would just share with you, I like open space too, but there's one difference maybe between.
Let me finish.
Okay, all right, I thought maybe you were. Go ahead, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
Mhm.
That was just point one.
Okay, how many are there?
I've got several.
Okay.
The fact of a golf course being a polluted and the golf course being in disrepair, that has to do with the way it is budgeted through the city.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Maybe the disrepair, but not the pollution.
Well, you see, you're looking at a historical time site. You're not looking at maybe natural development and organic methods
You could
of
go,
creating.
if we could turn back time, but we
this is
can't.
not
It's
an
already
argument,
polluted.
This is
It's
my
already
time to talk.
Okay, listen, but I'm gonna ask you to do one thing. You can do 2 points, so let each
No,
person
no,
do 2 points.
No, it's
okay.
So other people can
No,
come
let him
in.
keep
Go
Let
ahead.
me make,
Okay.
I have been very polite and I'm
You have.
open to his ideas.
You have been polite.
You're distracting me from my
Okay.
third question. It was extremely important.
We were on pollution and
Yeah, no, I'm sorry you guys.
Well, we can come back. You can think.
Yeah, you
can
think,
speak
okay.
again. Okay? Do you want to comment on something?
It was the most important point. I was saving the third, and I will go on.
Okay, sir, and then David, and then Howard.
Oh, I know.
Okay, finish.
The fact that it is losing $500,000 a year is inaccurate information. The reason that there is a $500,000 deficit is because part of the revenue that golf course is generating is going to pay other parts of the park to park. Also, the number of rounds played, as I say, I play there all the time. That course is packed all the time. I can't believe that you can pack another 70,000 rounds onto one course.
the average, this is from National Golf Foundation, the average number of rounds on all golf courses in the U.S., that's including the ones up north that have 100 fewer days of golf because of the climate. The average number of rounds is 35,000 golf
Well, I
courses.
just know
You
that
have 70. You're at the average.
that there are the fact that there are two golf courses that allows simultaneous play of certain groups that can play at the same time.
All right, my only comment to what you said is about open space. I believe in open space too. I like a little more trees, but I like open space. But here's the thing. I like open space that everybody can use, including children, that they can play on, get exercise on, have fun. That is not what that course is. That course is owned by the entire city of Hollywood.
And it's a
I would-
historical course.
We have
It is a
60
historical
parks in
portion
Hollywood.
of the city.
Here's
60.
well, here-
60.
Okay,
Okay.
go, Rex.
I'm Chris Rice. Chuck, I liked your presentation.
Thank you.
I live in Hollywood, just the other side of Hollywood Boulevard. Two main points. Number one, it's an interesting course. It's a walker's course, and it does cater for local residents, but in the winter time, it caters for people from Quebec.
Yeah.
And they bring a lot of tourist money into Hollywood, a huge amount. So if we say the course is losing $500,000 a year, balance that against the profits which we get from servicing The Quebec tourists. Okay.
Okay.
And I would like, of course, if you do get your contract, to be a walker's course as well.
Okay.
Okay, the other thing is, let's talk about pollution. Pollution is everywhere. Every community sprays, herbicide, pesticides, and then the lawn service come in and they do it, and then each resident living in that area does it as well. So there's no big difference, I don't think. This is a course that has been an eco system for 60, 70 years now. We have on it burrowing owls, who are a threatened species that you would have to provide for and mitigate for. We have loggerhead shrike, we have visiting roseate spoonbills, woodstocks, who are, endangered. We have skimmers, we have osprey, least terns, hawks, night herons, egrets, and crows. This may be polluted, but all those animals exist.
Okay.
And we have butterflies, we have all sorts of other things as well. So it's polluted, yes, but everywhere is.
Right. Here's what I would suggest. Taking the two parts of your comment. On the second part, we can make that way more. We can make the property way more environmentally friendly to all the species you talked about.
Sure, you could get rid of the melaleuca and the Australian pine.
We can get the water to be not as polluted, for one thing, with all the waterfowl that nest there or whatever. We can definitely do that. We can also provide better habitat with things we do in the botanical garden and what we do in terms of.
Most botanical gardens, by the way, have tropical plants.
They will be.
We already got, so we're going to have non-tropical plants to make it interesting.
Well, that's up for choice of what people want. But one thing I did propose there, because I think would be a quick solution to some tall canopy and very interesting plant, would be to do a considerable stand of bamboo. There's a very famous bamboo walk in.
We have our bamboo already.
You've never seen this.
Yeah,
Look on the website.
But we should be going native species, not. The other thing about the course.
We live through a marijuana growing area.
The great thing is, this is a working man's course. You're playing for 20 odd bucks. Nowhere else, maybe Pompano, they have public course where you can play. I tried to run a little tournament. The cost of rounds in other places are astronomical. Orangebrook's the only place where a poor retiree can play.
Okay. Does anybody, just curious, but does anyone have a sense of how many Hollywood residents actually golf on that course now? Does anybody have an idea? Percentage-wise?
What difference?
The difference is that property is owned by the city. Do other residents get to use it or no?
Of course they do.
Residents use it, and it's a problem for residents.
We want tourists. We want tourists. They bring business.
We'll bring a ton of tourists with this project.
Next, David, and then Howard, and then the gentleman in the other shirt.
My name is Alessandro Pasalacqua.
Oh, I don't know where I got David from. I know he said it.
I live north of Hollywood Boulevard. I agree with you that the golf course is in pretty bad shape. I agree with you that the clubhouse needs to be fixed. I disagree with you that the golf course will bring down the value of their houses. As you look around, and if you go south, there is a small island called Fisher Island. That's the most expensive square foot in the United States.
Okay.
It is expensive than Manhattan, and it is all around the golf course. Now, if you go to Palm Beach, you have the President Trump that has a multi-million homes all around golf courses. Then if you go east on our same city, you go to Westlake Village, where they have a really nice golf course. Why we don't take that one, and we take the money that they used to fix that one, and we fix our golf course? Why you don't take the golf course that's in Johnson, that is all abandoned and is not being taken care of, that it looks really bad, and develop that one? Why will have to give up the golf course and the space to accommodate a business that is going to be turned over to the city in 40 or 49 years, when the buildings are in pretty bad shape, when the building and the entire concept that we're looking at it today has been used has been taking profit for everybody, and the city,
And Hilton has their own facility.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're gonna, the treasurer absconded all the money, so we're not gonna have a treasurer's report, because she said no. He left the house without the report, so we'll catch up next month on that. We're not gonna have a police report. Ryan Ostrowski, please stand up. If you have any questions or concerns, and we're doing this to keep our meeting flowing quickly, he'll be here afterwards. And then we have Kashina Lewis. She's the code enforcement. If you have any concerns about code enforcement in the community, please see her. Okay, and you can see her at the end of the meeting. We're just doing this to move the meeting. We're not going to have any commissioners' reports today. I do want to recognize our commissioners. We have Tracy Caleri here. We have Linda Sherwood here. Linda's always taller when she's sitting down.
When I'm sitting down.
Okay. I appreciate what they both do so much for our city. And then we have our county commissioner, Burr, here. And so the first order of business, so see that we're moving right along. We hope to maybe get us out of here by 8 o'clock. And the first thing, we have a new business proposal by Sean Atkinson. Sean, your business, your
Business proposal?
yeah, a formal proposal for us to take a stand on. So there's going to be a motion.
Oh, okay.
Tell them about it and so we can make a motion.
Indeed. So you may have noticed on our Facebook page over the weekend, we've been discussing the removal
A little
in
louder.
downtown Miami.
A little louder.
Miami, in downtown Hollywood area. We've been discussing the proposal, the current effort of the downtown CRA to remove a few trees from downtown Hollywood. You may remember the trees. They're often called yellow poincianas or copper pot, and that's what they look like, a yellow poinciana. They're quite large. They were planted in the 80s, so they're getting on to 30 years old, and they give a nice shade. A 30-year-old tree gives a very nice shade, which is not easily replaced. Now, to me, trees have value in and of themselves, but to anybody that looks at things just in the dollars and cents, any retail location with that's located in a tree canopied street makes 12% more in sales than an equivalent, all other things being equal, than another store. 12% is a lot in business. I'd love to find a way I can increase my sales by 12%, and I would definitely like to avoid decreasing them by that amount. So I'm a little concerned that the CRA, so far the city, has been planning on removing those trees and replacing, not in the same locations, in different location, close, but not at the same location, replacing them with palm trees. Aside from the fact that it does not conform to Broward County tree removal code in and of itself, it's just not great. Palm trees, I'm sorry, they just don't give the same kind of shade as a tree does. Try to have lunch underneath a palm tree. I mean, they're pretty. I remember the 80s, and concrete and palm trees were a very nice idea on Miami Vice, but I'd rather to have lunch or whatever, I'd rather be underneath a tree, and doing everything possible to make sure that those trees remain there. Now, there are all sorts of other complaints that are alleged by the CRA as to whether the trees they seem to be magic trees, because apparently they're destroying the concrete around them, and the way they make it sounds pretty dire, but if you go and actually look, some of the trees are raising the concrete a bit, but you can pour new concrete, that's not a huge problem. You can crack the concrete and pour new concrete in half a day. You cannot grow a 30-year-old tree in half a day. So I'm asking for a letter of support for the trees from our Civic Association. That's it, thank you.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to grant the letter. Second?
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Any discussion concerning the trees?
Can non-association members?
Yes,
speak?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the Hollywood Green Team Advisory Board for the city. And, we, I don't think have had a formal vote, but we have had the city arborist come in and talk to us. And he's not in favor of removing those trees. We, as the Green Team, I think collectively speaking, we've got Barry here, he's the chairman of the Green Team. I think we collectively are for the preservation of those trees. I brought up the point to George at the beach meeting that they're historical, and he could shut me down. He said they're not historical because I got pictures of 1948 where it's bare. But they're historical from the 80s, and the other thing they're saying is that they're saying that all the store owners are unhappy with them, and Patty has done some research, and that's just not the case. It's a beautiful, cool downtown, and I'm in support of preserving those
What the trees
trees.
look like?
Okay, Patty, did you want to make some comments?
It's just a picture of the trees.
Okay. So I think a lot of people have been downtown, so actually there won't be any shade on our downtown street, our main restaurant area. Is there any other comments? Okay, I'm gonna, yes.
Just in terms of, what Sean was alluding to is really, when we're looking at trees and stuff like that, we need to take a look at the canopy, the shade area that's being provided. And just like Sean was mentioning, with a single palm tree that gives a certain amount of shade, collectively they could, but a single tree can provide quite a bit. And also when we're looking at trees, they get evaluated at the diameter of that tree at breast height. So when you have a mature tree like that, measuring that at breast height, that translates to a lot of dollar value, a lot of value for that shade canopy. So, just supportive of your position, Sean.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I guess a lot of it has to do too with, the older trees in front of my house. The roots lift the sidewalk up. Now you may have a liability situation. And I'm sure the store owners, take a look at that too. Because I don't know if they're liable if somebody trips over, a raised sidewalk. So I don't know if anyone has done a survey as to, what it's going to cost to fix the sidewalks around the trees, to bring it up to the point where
I think it
there's
would
not a
be
problem.
less, I think it would be less to replace the places where the sidewalk is a little raised than to tear all the trees out, replace all the trees. Yes.
Yes, our city landscape architect does have a system, it's called the root barrier, and they can dig up those pavers, put the root barrier down, put the pavers down, and solves the problem.
Who would pay for it?
The CRA, it seems like
CRA,
$2 million to throw around.
Yeah.
It's a CRA.
Yes.
I'm the agriculture teacher at MacArthur High School. I was just handed the 2017 National Science Teacher Association Agriculture Teacher of the Year award. Mr. Furr can attest to the fact that I also was the educator that won the Preserving Our Planet for Posterity Award at the P3 function, which occurred last week. I had the wrong day down because I had the wrong calendar up in the back of my classroom. I was going to go the day that they told me I won. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that anytime you're thinking about removing trees of such a stature, of such an age, and it doesn't have to be 1948 to be historical. What's historical is that it's providing this shade in the area. That's historical, especially when you look at the fact that in May here, April here in South Florida, it's summer. Okay, even though summer's supposed to be June 21st, we're experiencing it much earlier than anywhere else, as we always do. So the idea of losing shade is preposterous. I live on 64th Avenue. They removed oak trees. Who they? Florida Power and Light hired a contractor to remove 30-year-old oak trees to put up silver bottle brush or whatever. it's gonna take that another 30 years to get them any size that it provided the shade that it did. So the point I'm trying to make from a personal experience and from an educator of my students that are right back here, we want to assert that preserving what we have, it provides oxygen. All trees, the bigger they get, the more leaves they grow. There's no point in replacing
that cannot maintain a golf course today and a small clubhouse. It can't hold it. They can't maintain a whole development like the one that you're proposing. So I think that we're putting more expenses on the future to the city that at the end is going to come out from our pockets, from our taxes.
So you're absolutely wrong. It's going to be the opposite by a big margin. You're wrong about the numbers.
Every building after 40 years has to go to a 40-year certification. Every building after 40 years by the code of Florida Building Code, you have to pass a 40-year certification.
Are you familiar with that?
You have to go through all that process. You have to upgrade it.
Are you familiar with Riverside Hotel in downtown
Yes.
Fort Lauderdale? How old do you think that hotel is?
It's
It's an icon. It's been there a long time. Is there a problem with that hotel? It's one of the finest properties on the street.
It's maintained by who?
But it's maintained
By who?
by the owner.
And who's the owner? It's not the city, right?
Riverwalk Mall failed in
Okay,
what,
next.
7 years?
Well, actually, the buildings will be owned by the developer. They're renting the land.
It's
Okay?
a ground. It's a ground.
Go ahead, Howard. Please
I
stand
would
up.
like to ask how many people here have played Orange Brook in the last couple weeks? If I was to say Orange Brook was on a scale of 1 to 10 about a 3 months ago, and if I say it is now, through some miracle of this character that's doing the greens, is now a 9.5, would anybody here disagree?
Yeah, I would say six, a little high. Six. It's not a 9. 5 or 6.
The greens. No, I'm talking about the greens.
The grapes are good.
He's worked on the greens. He
Done
hasn't
a
worked on
wonderful
anything
job.
else.
Spend more money on it than giving it to the park.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the general feeling is that the Greens, and I've heard this from many people in the community, we now have, the manager is the guy that used to do.
Hillcrest.
Hillcrest.
And the Greens have greatly improved
Significantly.
with the same budget. So, and just think if we could put
Good
more money
good
into
management.
it, we could do better management, right?
And he's
Okay.
going for the fairways and the tee boxes now, in a progression. The course is going to be a country club in a matter of 2 or 3 months, and we'll be able to raise rates if we
He
need
said about
to.
a year.
But you don't want to raise rates.
I don't think a
You
year.
don't want to raise rates. You want to keep it affordable for people, right?
We want it to be profitable,
Okay.
so that people like you don't come and try to take it.
Why does it come apart? The value of it is what it does for the recreation and all of the community. It doesn't have to make a profit. Boca Raton just paid $24 million for this golf course. Penrec just bought a golf course, that's County West. Sunrise maintains a course at a deficit of $400,000. They do it because they feel like it's a service to their city. Does T.Y. Park make it a profit? Does Markham Park make a profit? C.B. Smith Park? Montana Park? How about taking over David Park? Getting rid of those tennis courts and everything. I mean, you know,
Fire rescue.
a park does not have to make a profit to be profitable or valuable to the citizens of the city.
Thank you very much.
All right, I agree with your statement. All right, can I just quickly?
Yeah, no, yeah.
The park doesn't have to make a profit, but there's certain things that people want to do that cost money. Botanical gardens don't exist for free. They don't exist for free. People pay to go into them. They might be nonprofit, and they usually are, but you have to pay an entry fee to go walk through that park. There are all kinds of parks. Some parks are passive. You look at things. You have nothing to do in the park. This is an active park.
Botanical gardens need a lot of money to be maintained.
Yes, they
If
do.
you go to Fairchild Gardens, they have annual memberships, and they're forever doing fundraisers to go and maintain that property.
We'll be doing the same thing.
You have to charge to maintain a
Yeah.
good botanical
Yeah,
garden.
you do, absolutely.
Okay, right here.
I just want to say that, you know, as much as I appreciate the interest that people want to develop in Hollywood, the golf course is not the place to do it because A, we need to keep it green for that green space, for that quietness that we have in the city, for the air that we breathe. But secondly, I would like to see developers, and I'm addressing you as a developer, to come in and redevelop what's already there. The fact that we have the JC's building there, that they could easily be accommodated someplace else, and that could be a hotel in that spot. You have the trailer park over there that you know is not going to stay there. Now I understand
You can't afford
that
to
it's
buy
a
it.
lot more expensive to. Yes, you can,
It's
because the
unaffordable.
city can say, "Oh, let's go to highest and best use, et cetera, et cetera."
But you can't, that's not gonna bring
It's
your
not
price.
affordable. Well, if it's not affordable, our golf course is worth 10 times what that trailer park is.
That trailer park is generating more than 10 times what your golf course makes.
Yes,
easily.
but it doesn't matter.
That's what determines the value of the property. That's what determines property value.
Yeah, but that's putting the money on your side.
No, that's not on my side, that's on that owner's side.
Okay, red shirt, I don't know your name, sorry about the gentleman in the background.
I'm on Myra Powell, I'm 3236 Van
Thank you.
Buren, and I walk over to Orange Brook Golf Course. I'm not a golfer. My grandfather was a golfer, though, and we used to go to the park and have a picnic, and we could see Papa walking the golf course. The thing I don't like about Orange Brook is that it's conducive to golfers, but it's not conducive to golfers' families. So you guys are out there golfing, but your children, grandchildren could have a little picnic place or something where they could wait for you and have lunch for you or something. And so I am interested in having the golf course be more family friendly, although probably if you're like my husband, you want to get away from the family. but you do get to do that when you're walking the course. We used to bring a picnic lunch and wait for Papa to come off the golf course. He had us 2 or 3 hours, and we'd wait, and then we'd have a nice picnic. So I'd like to see something like that, however we configure the golf course.
Okay, when she brings up a good point, I just want to say this. We have a website, and it's on all our signs to say the Orange Brook. If you have suggestions, the committee would love to hear the suggestions, because we're putting a lot of these suggestions, similar to what you said, into what we'd like to see for our golf course. And if you could share that, or if you're interested in joining the committee, you can see Claire at the end and say, look, I'd like